10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today I'm talking about auras, aura colors, how to see them and the experiences that I had with them. So it's really cool. All right. It's been a heck of a 2 weeks. I Now this is really cool about how the body works. So I pulled a muscle in my back for whatever reason. I know how I did it. I was feeding deer, and throwing corn at the deer was not a good idea because I don't have a pitching arm and my back let me know it. So yeah, so I pulled my muscles and it really sucked for the past 2 weeks. So when a body part hurts, look back at the chakras and say, for example, my back, total support of my body. It was hard to stand. It was hard to breathe. It was hard to bend over. It was hard to move. It was hard to lift. So think of that spiritually. What in my life is lacking support? That's how our chakra system works. When a body part hurts, a chakra is already out of balance. So for me, I think about this one a little bit because it's really important. And it was an awful 2 weeks. Today's just day one of feeling pretty good. Oh, good. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, who joined. And again, probably about 30 minutes here before my phone dies. And we're talking about auras today. Exciting. As a clairvoyant, I can see them, and it is one of nature's miracles. I'll tell you right now. I made a little list of the topics, the experiences that I want to share with you. All right. So, and if you have any questions, please write them in the comments. I'll be glad to answer them for you. All right. The very first time I was interested in seeing auras was back in 2014 when all my woo-woo started coming to the surface. So I looked it up and I'm like, how can I see my aura? And there's several ways of doing it. But for the most part, I had gone into the bathroom and I put my hand up, and they say, with a soft focus, just look at your hand in the mirror. Make sure that you have a white background, which this would be ideal, actually. So I didn't know what to expect. So I have my hand up and I'm just looking at it in the mirror. A soft gaze, try not to blink too much. And then all of a sudden I saw, and you should be able to see, like the outline of your hand starting to get a little fuzzy. You'll start to see colors. A very typical one is like a whitish cream color. Then it might go to blue or green or to yellow. It depends. Now, here's the part that got cool, is that I am looking at my hand and I see a little fuzziness and colors around it. But coming out of the tips of my fingers, I saw flames about this high, white, in the center, and yellow flames. So I'm looking at this in the mirror. I'm like, what the hell is that? Why do I have flames coming out of my fingers? I don't remember reading about that. Like that should happen. I'm like, whatever. This is my life. So I put my hand down. I had enough of that. Had to process that for a little bit. And of course, back then I'd go to the internet and say, what does it mean when you see flames coming out of your fingertips? And it's like, oh, you're demonic, you're the devil, you almost all the garbage. I was like, okay, stop. All right. So let me tell you a few of the experiences I've had with seeing auras. Again, this is way back 20 years ago or so. I was sitting on the bed looking at my cat, and he was older. And again, it was just a soft gaze. And that's what you need to do. You need to have a soft gaze when you're trying to see aura. So I'm looking at him, and he was his name was Jimmy. He was a Balinese, beautiful cat. And he was grayish, shades of gray. And so I'm looking at him. Then all of a sudden around him, I see like this color, like a little bit deeper, like a burgundy, which is unusual to see an aura. Now, everybody sees auras differently, and the colors, will be different for every person. So I'm like, ooh, burgundy, that's cool. But the aura was not like a soft, blurry color. It had spikes on it. So I'm like, ooh, I don't know what that means because it's the first time that I see it. But my cat has burgundy spikes on it, so I made note of it. Now, again, if you've heard any of my videos or looked at any of my things, I'm very scientific. I debunk everything. So I don't come to a conclusion until I see a pattern. So I would have to see burgundy spikes several times and see what the common thread is before I would come to a conclusion. Let me fast forward a few years that I was at a party with some friends, and one of my friends, who was, kind of spooky as well, she was standing behind one of her friends who had a headache, a migraine. So my friend did Reiki. So she's standing behind her, with her hands out and doing her Reiki thing. And I'm just observing. I'm looking at my friend. And then I look down at the lady that she's doing Reiki for, and I see burgundy spikes around her head. I'm like, that's what pain looks like in an aura. Burgundy spikes, at least for me. Might be different for you. But when I see somebody in pain, I will see a burgundy, spiked aura around the place that they have pain. So going back to my cat, yeah, he was an older cat. I guess he was uncomfortable, I wasn't aware of that, but he had, this aura around him. And this woman who had headache, she had the burgundy spikes around her. So that was very interesting. All right. So the next experience I had with seeing aura was when I was lying in the bathtub. I had my feet up on, the wall. It was a brown wall, and just relaxed, calm. And I'm looking at my feet, that are like up here, elevated on the wall. And then I start to see colors around I see yellows and blues and greens. I'm like, wow, that's cool bean. And I didn't have wine with me in the tub. So if you're thinking that, no, I did not. So, but I'm just looking at it. I'm like, wow, my feet are very colorful with these colors around them. And what was also interesting is when I took my feet down, the impression of my feet remained on the wall. I'm not sure what that was, but I'm looking for like a solid 15, 20 seconds. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, my feet are now back in the tub, and I'm looking on the wall and I see a dark print of where my feet were, and I still see the outline of colors around that. So I'm like, wow, well, welcome to the life of a clairvoyant. Every day is a new chapter in my book, I'm telling you. And a couple new things happened this week too, but I'm not discussing them right here on this video. That'll be another time. Actually, I talked about it a little bit on my notes and posts. You might want to go take a peek. So anyway, that's another way of looking at your aura. When you're in the bath, again with a relaxed eye, put your feet up and just look at the center of your feet. Don't look at the outline. Then all of a sudden, your vision will pick up the outline of your feet. It's really, really quite cool. All right, moving right along. 1010, good number. Moving right along. Tree auras. I mean, everything is made of energy. So, of course, trees, plants. I'm in my backyard one day, just hanging out, and I'm looking at the trees. I don't know what kind of trees they were or are. I don't recall. But I found a common thread with trees. Let me just show you this thing here for a second. Trees have a blue aura, like this color, almost like a neon indigo, very saturated, very pretty. And I'm looking at it, I was like, wow, those trees are really pretty. And it was this, severe saturated indigo blue around all the trees. So I'm like, ooh, aren't you looking pretty? So, all right. Does anybody else see auras, or am I like the only one here? So it's actually, you, you need to relax like I said before, you need to relax your mind and your eyes, to be able to let your body do what it's supposed to do, like see things that aren't there. And you have to trust yourself that these things will happen. It's very amazing. Like I said, I'm just going to write down another note that I want to tell you about. Um, this was Halloween. Now those were shadow people. That was not aura. But I was sitting on my. Let me just go back a minute. I was sitting on my front porch, maybe about 2 years ago, and it was a beautiful um, Sunday morning, and I'm looking at my mailbox and all the pretty plants around it, and it started to vibrate. The mailbox was metal, and I'm looking at it, and it's literally shaking like this. I'm like, okay, now what's happening? Now what is unfolding for me? But I was like, okay, I'll just watch. And of course, everything's energy. So if you have the capability or clairvoyance to be able to see that, don't freak out. You know, it's cool. It's cool to be able to see that. So I'm looking at it. My dad was sitting next to me, uh, and I said, "Hey, Dad," I go, "Look at that mailbox." And he's looking at it. I go, "Do you see it? Moving or shaking?" At the time, he's passed, but at the time he was 94, 95, and he's looking at it, and he's like, "No," he goes, "I don't see it shaking or moving." I'm like, "Okay." So I just continued to look at it, and then I thought maybe I was getting glaucoma or something. I don't know. So then I also looked at the plants that were underneath on the ground by the mailbox. Some were yellow, some were purple and green. And they started forming an aura around them, and it was purple. All of them were purple. And it sticks out about maybe 5 or 6, at least 5, 6, 7 inches out from the object I'm looking at. I'm like, wow, it's really pretty. I am able to see the aura of these plants or the energy or the colors that these plants are emitting. So I have to find out, what does purple mean in the auric field? And again, it means something different. You know what? Which brings me to that photography, that aura photography, which is crap, by the way. And I'll tell you why. It's a lens they put on a camera to catch your aura. Doesn't work. Doesn't work that way. And I was at some kind of a spiritual event one day, and I was just on the sidelines watching and observing all the card readers and these people doing their spooky stuff. And I came to the section where this lady was taking pictures of auras. I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before. Let's look. So they're taking a picture. It's like $25 a picture. It's not cheap. And so they take a picture. And then the person comes back and then like, oh, what does my aura look like? And then, the person gives her, a little Polaroid or whatever of them standing there like this, with some kind of colors around them. And then I see the photographer take a sheet and she says, oh, you have red around you. That means that you are angry about something. I see a little green. That means that maybe you need money. I'm like, my BS, meter went sky high, and it took everything in my being not to come out and say, you know what you're doing is wrong. And that's not how auras work. But, it's not my place to say that, but it was noted. Anyway. All right. So it's a little bit about aura photography, and it's crap. All right. So when I first started seeing auras was after my first Reiki attunement, again, back in 2014, 2015, or something like that. And, Reiki is amazing, and it does all kinds of stuff to your energy and whatnot. But it was that day after my first attunement that I was able to see these auras. And I remember going out to lunch with my husband, and we were having a great time, and he's out, ordering, whatever. And I'm sitting at the table and I'm looking around, and then I see, I mean, there was like at least 30, it was a big place. It was like 30 people, in the restaurant. And I'm looking at every single one of these people, and they had, um, like a, what color can I? can I it's like purple. They had like a purple, kind of like this purple, but again, very saturated. And they had everybody had this purple around them. And I'm like, wow, that's really pretty. So everybody was kind of on the same color line. Not one had a different color than the other, which is unusual because usually everybody has different aura colors, but they all had like purple around them. I'm like, wow, very cool. Now, um, again, after shortly after that, again, this is along the same timeline of 2014, 15, 16, 17, around that time that I had gone to some event. um, I forgot what it was, some spiritual event, but we're all sitting there in a circle. There was about, I want to say, a good 20 of us sitting in a circle. And I didn't know these people. It was some kind of class. And so I'm just sitting there, very excited for the class to begin. And then by the door, I see something move. I'm like, oh, what's that? Yay, what is that? So I look at it, and it looked like the aura of two people, but there was nobody there. So I'm like, this I haven't seen before. I'm going to watch it unfold and see what happens. So it was about person height. Like I was sitting down, and it was about the height of a person, and it was a oblong white-ish shape, and around it was beautiful pink, 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 pink. Like let me see if I can get you this pink without knocking all the stuff down here. Look, it was like this. Can you see that? Okay, pink, 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 pink. Again, all these colors are very saturated. And these two, one was a little higher than the other. I'm like, and whenever anything spooky like this happens, I go through, if you listen to any of my videos before, um, you would know that I go through a checklist because again, I try to debunk everything and I'm very, very scientific. So I'm like, okay, what does it look like? What does it feel like? I go through my clairs. What do I know it to be true? Does it smell bad? Does it feel bad? Is it threatening? Does it feel angelic? What does it feel like? I already know what it looks like because I'm seeing it, but I had to go through my other chakras, sorry, my other clairs to verify what I'm seeing and if it was okay to continue looking at it. Everything felt good, everything looked good. So I'm like, okay, what does these two figures appear to be? These white figures with these the beautiful pink outline. And to me, it felt like spirit people. And the taller one was the man, the shorter one was the woman. And they just came in to check things out. They stayed for maybe 5 seconds and they walked right back out the door. And so I'm sitting there, people must have thought I was crazy because I'm like looking at things that, nobody else can see. I'm like, wow, I go, that was really cool. Now, keep in mind, spirit people, they like to be in places where there's good energy, like um, classrooms and hair salons. By the way, I posted about that on my publication, about a ghost in a hair salon. You might want to go take a read. And that's where they get their energy from. So they go to places that have high energy, concerts and sporting events, restaurants, all these places. Now that I think of it, where I see spirits, that's where they are because they get energy. Not at a cemetery. For all you ghost hunters who go to the cemetery to catch a ghost. All right, once in a while, yeah, there's one there that's sad because nobody's coming to visit or they can't believe they're dead or for whatever reason, but it's rare. I mean, out of all the I'm sorry, out of all the cemeteries that I've been to in Savannah, which is hot, as a matter of fact, I'm going there in March, can't wait. I'm going to be at a very haunted hotel there. Can't wait. um but the cemeteries, and I've been there and I've been there so many. And my husband's like, "Do you see anything?" I said, "No, leave me alone. I don't see any spooky people. Trust me, I will tell you if I see a ghost or a spirit person. But, they don't really hang out at cemeteries. Let's go someplace fun." And I can tell you, all the spooky people, all the spirit people that I see. Oh my gosh. So, all right. So, Yeah, so that's my point about, being able to see these auras on, spirit people. Go to places that have high energy and, again, relax your eyes and actually just look at people. I love people watching. See, this is kinda tough because I don't like being in crowds. But when I have to be in a crowd, like if I'm in a doctor's waiting room or something, I just like to look at everybody's aura and see, and try to find out. I'm like, okay, they have a green aura, and it depends on where it is. Sometimes, the green, I mean, I do a lot of chakra readings, and the chakras for me are extensions of, you know, like I would see aura around them, but they're extensions of the chakras, is what I'm trying to say. And sometimes they're out of place, and sometimes they're like a basic aura, like that surrounds people, but sometimes it's a big blob of green here or a big thing of, yellow here. Um, Once I saw somebody's lower side, and it was yellow. I'm like, oof, that's not where yellow is supposed to be on the body. It's supposed to be a little bit higher up towards center. But I saw it on the side, but it was cracked and it was like spewing out steam, you know, energy. So I'm like, ooh, that is something something I haven't seen before. So I said to the client, I'm like, I see your solar plexus is by your hip area, but it is releasing like what looks like steam. I'm going to assume it's some type of energy. She's like, "Yeah," and she had an issue with her hip, and it was painful there, but it's a long story, but she did verify that she did have issue with her hip, and, just that energy in that part of her body was just leaking right out. Alright, guys, does anybody have any questions? Because 'Cause I'm gonna be on for probably just another 5 minutes because I actually have to go bake cookies. So, alright, let's see. I think that's about it. I think I covered all my experiences that I have had about auras except one. Now, this one is the most spooky, and I really don't like to see it. I call it the death aura. I've seen it 3 times in my life. One I can't verify, but two I can. So it is a very specific looking aura. It's probably the most beautiful aura I've seen. It just expands out of a person. I mean, whites and silver and gold and sparkles and just beautiful. It makes a person look like an angel. And I've seen it once around my cat. Again, this is, like 20 years ago, and my cat shortly thereafter passed. And another person who was actually a family member, I saw this death aura around them, and I'm looking at this person, and I'm like, wow, this person, I'm not going to mention the name, of course, looks the best that I've ever seen him. And I'm looking at him like, okay, something feels different. And I didn't have enough experience with the death aura to understand what I was looking at because it only happened like 2 other times. Well, 3 times, but the one I couldn't verify because it was a stranger. And I'm looking at him like, wow, I go, that is, it's beautiful. And like couple 2 weeks after that, that family member passed away. So I was like, wow. I go, so now I know what I believe to be the death aura looks like. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And thankfully I don't see it often at all. Nor do I think I want to continue to see it because, yeah, I think somewhere, in myself, and I do this when I do, mediumship readings. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to know how you died. I don't want to see anything ugly. I don't want to feel well, I'm able to feel what they feel, but I don't want to see anything gross. Some mediums, they they taste blood in their mouth, and they say, oh, you died of a car crash and all this. I made a contract with the spirit world. I don't want to see that, and it's not necessary for me as a medium to know that. I can still get messages to my client without all these gruesome details of how they died. just not me. So anyway, also the death aura, like I said, I saw it 3 times. And, I think that's one thing that I'd rather not be able to see because that's kind of getting like a heads up of when somebody's gonna die, and I don't think I want that ability. So I might have turned it off, hopefully. I don't know. But, all right. So, we're 27 minutes in, and I think I'm just about done. So we were talking about auras if you joined late and how to view them and the different colors that you may see when you're looking at auras. And the aura photography is BS. It's beautiful, it's fun, it's a way for people to make money or whatnot, but it's not. Your eyes are the best way to see auras. But anyway, all right, guys. Thank you for joining me. And again, if you have any questions, please go on my profile page and let me know. And like I said, I usually do these lives on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to join next week, I should be here. Maybe, maybe not, depending on my schedule. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining. And again, I'm Donna Frasca, psychic medium from color to the cosmos. Bye, guys.